What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Sim Standard Podcast, man. Myself, SimFBallCritic, along with Smitty. We got a lot to talk about tonight, guys, and we will have a guest. We'll have a guest tonight. We'll have Hollywood Sports. We're happy to definitely bring him on. Here's the funny thing. Since we've mentioned that we wanted to start doing panelist type show, nobody has asked to be a panelist. So Hollywood asked tonight. I'm happy. We're happy to have him on. We'll be bringing him on. So there you have it. Hollywood will be on. But, man, we got a whole lot to talk about tonight. I mean, basically just two games, but there's so much to cover. We're definitely going to dive into the NBA 2K18 latest news, party, the way they're marketing, et cetera, et cetera. We'll definitely do that. But what we also want to talk about, man, is Madden 18 in terms of your biggest pet peeves with the game currently. Now, we already know people are going to say zones. That's a known issue. I'm actually going to take a different approach in terms of the things that bother me, just in general about the game, not necessarily what the game still doesn't have yet, because we know that concern, but just the pet peeves that I have with the way Madden 18 has come out. All right, so that's basically what we're going to talk about, man. And yeah, it's a lot to cover, a whole bunch of information. So we might as well jump right into it. All right, Smitty, man, you tell me, where you want to start? You want to dive into the Madden news, or you want to dive into the NBA 2K? Which way you want to take it, man?
Man, I mean, I don't know. It's whatever, man. Like, we could jump in. There's so many different directions we could go. So I mean, it's whatever, man. Your call, bro.
Let's see. Let's go ahead and talk about 2K first.
All right.
Let's break it down into different sections. With this, with NBA 2K. And guys, you're going to have to forgive me. I know y'all see me panning to the left from time to time. You know, preseason game is on. You know, I'm just taking a peek at it to see what young boys want to make the team. I've recorded it, so I'll go back and analyze it. But, you know, from time to time, y'all going to catch me drifting like that, just checking out the game. But, all right. Here's the interesting thing about 2K. And I'm just going to keep it right here, and then we'll go further. But I don't understand why, as a community, we don't keep the same energy towards every game. We still have yet to see actual 5-on-5 gameplay. The game comes out in 2 weeks. Now, listen, before I even jump into that, I'll give 2K credit. You know why? Because 2K markets the game the way they want to, and they don't care what anybody else thinks. This is how they do it every year. They wait until the last minute. That's how they do it. And frankly, Smitty, I think they might be smart. You know why? Because what I've always said about other games like Madden, what's the point of showing it so early when the people who are going to nitpick your game or, destroy it anyway, what's the point of having all of that out there when you could just wait until you feel like showing the product? At the end of the day, people are going to hate it or love it. Those same people are going to have the same feelings 2 weeks before time or 2-3 months before time. So I have to actually tip my hat to 2K in that regard. That's how they do it. But I don't understand why people don't have the same beef. But a game like Madden, oh, man, people going crazy when they don't show it. Now, I know what the argument is going to be, Smitty. This is what we're going to hear from some. That's because the game is proven. And 2K is, they already in a better position. For those who feel that way, that's your opinion. Up until now, 2K has had the same issues in their game that plagues their game as any other product. People have told me MLB has issues. People have said it's had the same issues since MLB 15. We all know the issues that Madden has had since we could say 25. So my point is, regardless of how far you think 2K has come or where they're at in terms of stature, they still have their own demons. So why don't we get the same energy Also, Smitty, there was some leaked footage, off-screen footage. I didn't see that footage get torn down to shreds, and I didn't see it get overly praised. Why is that? So let's just talk about the marketing side of it real quick, and then we'll dive into a whole lot of other stuff. But why do you think they take that approach? Like, what would be your gut feeling? Why do they take that approach, and do you think it hurts or helps their cause?
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt the cause, you know what I'm saying, with them doing that. And I mean, the thing is, they can sit on their hands and wait till the game drops, because people are going to go out and buy it anyway, regardless of whatever displeasure or disdain that they have for the game. So, it's like, that's why it's so like, whatever. They can wait to the very last second and put it out there. But the thing is, I mean, 2K is in a better position, yeah, but at the same time, when it comes to core overall functionality, it really isn't. Especially these past few years, it really hasn't been. It's just that you have nice looking animations, and nice looking animations doesn't automatically equate to, you're just better. And that's been the case, because there's been so many eyesore fundamental AI problems, fundamental problems, ball shifting, warping, sliding, all that good stuff that happens. So when it happens in 2K, I mean, don't get me wrong, you have people that do go in on the game, but at the same time, you also have a lot of people that don't go in on the game. Like, they're very silent. You know what I mean? And what I mean by silent is, like, you'll see dudes post, like, for example, on Twitter, you'll see guys go on a timeline just going crazy, posting all kinds of stuff, like all kinds of video clips and all kinds of things they got to say and everything else. But, but then when you see that it's NBA 2K that does it, like, all they got is they just put out a few tweets here and there, and they just say, hey guys, enjoy the games. We got these options and choices. Just enjoy it and have fun.
Smitty.
And it's like, yo,
real quick, because I want you to expand on something I just saw in the chat. Only reason why I jumped in. I see a guy here that says, I'm gonna read to you verbatim. 2K, and he says, in my opinion, and listen, it is your opinion. I respect it. I'm not questioning it. What Smitty and I do here on this show is we just try to get a feel of where these things come from. 2K, in my opinion, has earned that. Yes, they have issues, but they are by far the best sports game in the market. Right after that, he says, 2K17 was not good. Trust me. That confuses me. That statement kind of confuses me, because I get what you're saying, but that's the exact point. However you feel about the game, yeah, but if people can say 2K17 was not good, why are they getting the pass? Because according to the first statement, it seems like, well, they've earned it. Well, how did they earn it if you could say 2K17 wasn't good? That's my only question. Go ahead, Smitty.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't make sense technically, but then see, that's the thing. Some people say that they say that they earned the right. Like, what gets you in a position to earn the right to get a pass when, okay, let Live have the exact same issue 2K does. Dudes are ready to wreck shop on Live because that issue happens in Live. But then as soon as it happens in 2K, it's like, OMG. It's like, oh, no, but they earned it. They earned the respect. The game's so much better. And it's like, no, they both have the same glaring issue. So both of them should catch the heat the exact same way. Literally the exact same way. And, this is just something I just want to say real quick. With all this stuff that's being put out and everything, like I said, number one, we don't know about the server stability. That's a huge question mark. And 2K has said for years about their server stability. How, we got this engineer, we did this work, we worked on the net code, we did all these things, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. You did all these things. Now, will the game show improve at launch? Because for multiple years, when they have these problems, it does not deliver. So that's what I'm saying. Are they honestly going to deliver? That's one thing. Secondly, this whole marketing thing, I don't know if we want to necessarily talk about that, but this whole marketing thing, and even from these in-game details that 2K are doing, real talk, NBA Live, honestly, is 2K's Ghostwriter. You know what I'm saying? Spot the heck on.
Smitty, they about to attack you, Smitty.
Oh, hey, I don't care.
Oh boy, Smitty done stepped in it now, boy.
I don't care. That's the truth. That's the truth.
Go ahead and explain it though, because I don't listen. Smitty and I, we never want y'all to misconstrue us. We know a lot of you understand, but some of you have to really walk you along. And before Smitty jumps into that, both talked before this show. I am campaigning for 2K. Y'all have no idea how much I want them to deliver. And I'm going to explain that a little later. So I want to say this real quick before we go into this, because I want tonight to be a real conversation. And we're going to bring Hollywood here in a minute once Smitty's done to get his take on it. It is not about 2K versus EA. I don't want to hear that tonight. It's not about, oh, well, Madden, oh, well, 2K. Forget all of that. We're gamers. We're talking from a gaming standpoint. I don't care if Madden was the worst game and 2K was the best game, or vice versa. I still would want to see the best game do what they can do to their best ability, and the worst game to get up where they need to be. So I don't want to see that. Any of those comments, I'm not even paying attention, because we're gamers first. That has always been our plight and our strive. The only reason why we've been so focused on Madden, obviously, in the past years is because Madden still needs to get pushed along a little bit. But don't lose the sight of us just being gamers.
Hold on, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sim.
But yeah, go ahead, Smith.
Step up their game. Okay. Now, let's see this. See, you can't really say it without it being misconstrued. So, I mean, I'm not really concerned about that. But the bottom line here is this. It's very funny to see 2K put out a trailer where they're saying that you can either dominate or make your way or make your name in the league or make your name and dominate the streets. Sounds a lot like the one trailer, doesn't it? NBA Live, you got your skill types in two different sets. You have your main skill set, and then you got your secondary. Those pictures that we see in that 2K, then primary and then secondary. The free flow of animations and everything, removing the two-man sequencing and drastically reducing that, making it more about one-to-one play. Live been doing that since Live 14. 2K just now getting it to that point. Hopefully. Once again, taken from that's Live had that. So when I see comments and people are saying they're being innovative, 2K's being innovative, you're piggybacking off of Live. And I mean, that's okay. That's okay. Because remember, years ago, for those of us, if you've been rocking with us for the whole time, years ago, there's this game that came out in 2010 called Backbreaker, where they had real-time physics driving that game. All of a sudden, you've seen every single game, whether it was a year, 2 years, whatever. All of a sudden, you saw FIFA come out with real-time physics. You saw Madden come with their real-time physics. Heck, you've seen MLB The Show start implementing real-time ball physics. All of these different things started. Oh, I forgot. NHL. They put in real-time physics in their game, player collision physics, puck physics, and all that stuff. They did all of that stuff. They went on these journeys with physics and still are refining and fine-tuning them and getting all that stuff. It all didn't kick off until Backbreaker came out. I.e., Backbreaker was the ghostwriter that kicked it off for a lot of these cats. But what I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying ghostwriter in this sense with 2K, because I have never seen a year in sports gaming where in where, I mean, both companies are literally doing the exact same thing the exact same year. Like, it's 1-to-1. It's crazy with some of these facets. I'm not saying every single facet, so just don't get me wrong there. You know, 2K running around the, you know, going through the neighborhood and everything you got. That's awesome. That's cool. You know what I mean? These are all great concepts and stuff like that. But are they going to come to fruition? You know what I mean? That's the biggest question in that regard. Is that going to happen? That we got to wait and see. But the thing is that this is the other thing. This is the other thing, though, we also got to understand as well, is that, okay, okay, what's up, man? But this is the other thing too. We also got to understand, if 2K is making this big old innovation and it's literally copying off of what Live is doing, then we better be hearing the exact same thing with Live, because they both doing the same thing. Now, one may be better than the other, which I expect 2K to be better than Live.
Yes.
So don't get me wrong there.
That's why nobody's disputing that.
Hey, look, but Sim, we said this back at EA Play. So we've been saying since June. I already said it's going to take Live at least another 2 years on top of what they do this year for them to possibly, and that's the key word, possibly contend and be up there with a neck and neck battle jostling with 2K.
Right.
So no one is sitting up here saying 2K, no one's saying that, yo, NBA Live got it this year, it's a wrap. No. Those are those diehard fanboys that are going over the edge. I'm talking about, let's keep it realistic. Let's keep it 100. These dudes are taking off each other in the exact same year. And, well, not taking off of each other, because 2K is doing it over Live by far. But like I said, it's full on respect. You know, I like in the sake of competition, I respect it. I just find so much irony in it. You got NBA Live has these parties. They give these dudes shoes and haircuts and such and everything. Like I said, you got dudes rapping and stuff like that, you know, Nas and all that or whatever. We had an EA Play and everything. And then here you go. You got 2K doing the exact same thing. Fly these dudes out to New York, giving them shoes and such and stuff. It's hilarious. It's just hilarious. I mean, but hey, this is what competition brings to the table. The companies compete. We, the end user, ends up winning. And that's the greatest part about it all. So I'm not upset. I'm not upset or angry or anything like that. I'm not like, how dare 2K do that? They're not original. No, but I mean, but you had a ghostwriter in this sense. And I mean, like I said, let's get this part correct too. See, we're in an era of sports gaming where there's only one, maybe two choices. This is not like back when, you know, when Sim and I grew up, and a good number of you guys too. You know, that some of you guys in the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you had NBA Live, 2K,
Inside Drive, baby.
Yep. You had Inside Drive. You had Sony with their game. What was it called? Inside the Life, I think it was. The Life or whatever.
Sweet. That was sweet. Like the story and all of that.
Yeah.
That was nice. That was nice back then.
You had In the Zone all in 1 year. And on top of that, you may have had an NBA Jam or NBA Showtime, NBA Street. So you at least had 4 to 5 games that would drop in 1 year consistently, at least 4 to choose from. And everybody had their own respective choices as far as what games they preferred and what they liked. See what I'm saying? Now it's just 2. You had people that couldn't stand playing Inside Drive, couldn't stand playing the Life. But then, like you just seen Sim, how he was enthused about it. You had people that loved Inside Drive, loved it over 2K. And 2K had the graphical advantage at the time too. And they're like, man, I ain't playing that, man. Look, this is the game you need to play. That's the kind of stuff that was going on back then. But now you only have 2, and you got dudes on Twitter going through the timeline saying, oh, see, Live should have dropped their game back in July and everything. Nah, it's a wrap. Why is it a wrap? You got choices. You know what I'm saying? What
Exactly.
Live's got the WNBA in their game. Does 2K have that? Nope. What about the like I said, the whole serviceability thing? Live is already proving their serviceability right now. What's 2K going to prove? Is their serviceability truly going to be on point? Because you've seen Ronnie 2K, you've seen these devs over there go before the camera, get on interviews and such, and say how the server is going to be on point. We worked it out and everything, and it still would fall off like none other. See what I'm saying? So now you got legitimate choices and have fun with. You see what I'm saying? So, and I mean, I know some people scoff at Live because it's got the WNBA, but just in case some of you guys are under a rock, there are actually females that actually do play video games and actually watch the NBA too. I know that may be a shock to some people, but they do actually watch the WNBA and they want to play that. You know what I'm saying? And then also you have people that want to see somebody else's vision. They just don't want to play 2K regardless of what they did. They want to play something different. And that's why you have that option out there. So I mean, I know people scoff at it, but you know, there is this race out there called females. There is this gender out there called the female gender, and that's what they actually want to play. Maybe shocking to some of you guys out here, but that's out there. So, but that's why I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, I'll throw it back to you, Sim, but you know, just had to say that little piece there, man.
Yeah, man, we got tons to talk about in regards to 2K, but before I continue, Hollywood, man, I want to get Hollywood in here. I know you're a gamer just like us. I don't know how involved you are as far as the 2K thing, but and just simply on at this point how they market their game. You know, we still really haven't seen anything. They're dropping info, great. But as far as marketing the game taking so long and still not showing any info, how do you feel about that?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I think I like the way 2K's doing it, man. They put out a little bit at a time. And it looks like 2K is confident. They're not worried. I don't think they're worried about Live. You can just tell the way the tweets are going, the way they do tweets and the way they do little snippets here on YouTube. They're just doing their thing. They got a plan and they're going with it. And I like that. And I think 2K is taking it to another level. I think Live has caused them to maybe take it a little bit harder. But I think what you saw today on their trailer, that was already planned. You can't do all of that in 1 year turnover. I mean, 2K got their plan and they're rolling, and I like the way they're doing it. They're getting to the point where they're setting the example, especially with some things like My Player and things like that. I think a lot of other game developers, they taking notice now. They taking notice, man. 2K is jumping to another level, and I think the game is starting to change. So, you know, I like what they're doing.
Do you think, why do you think they don't get the same criticism for showing the game? Because I know what most people are going to say is, oh, they're in a better position. But like we stated a little earlier, I don't know if you heard this part, there are many people who say, oh, no, they're not, or the game wasn't good last year. So why are they allowed to get away with the way they approach? Because even though, I don't know if you heard this, I said also, I like them for sticking true and doing it with how they want to do it. They don't care. They don't show it early. They wait until their time to show it. I'm cool with that. But why do you think there's not as much uproar like it is with Madden, knowing that 2K still won't be perfect? Why don't people get upset about them waiting this long to show what they got?
I've been trying to figure that out for the longest. For the longest. I'm always thinking about that. How come, you know, there's a lot of faults in 2K. And I think 2K17 could have fell below any other 2K as far as maybe being one of the worst 2K as far as gameplay. But I think what people are really, everything is visual with people, you know, like with Madden, you know, people always say, oh, Madden 18 look just like Madden 17. I think it's all about the visual. 2K just has the visuals, man. They just have the spotlight, the glow that people like. And I think they know there's glaring faults with the gameplay, but they're willing to stick with it because that visual is keeping them attracted keeping them holding on to 2K. But now, you know, all those people maybe been waning away from 2K, they're coming back now. They see 2K is on it. And I think the same thing with Madden. We know player movement's gotten better, but it's not where it needs to be. I think when Madden hits that really good player movement, I think they'll see Madden the same way. You know, or maybe with a really good halftime report or after game report, you know, something like that. But mostly it's all visual. And I think that's why 2K gets away with a lot of that. They're not judged the same as Madden. I mean, people are really stonks Madden. But I think that's the only reason. It's all visual to me.
That's an interesting point, man. Because I'll jump into that as well, to the next point. I believe that too, man. I believe that people who like the sizzle then like the real substance. And that's just the society that we're in. Like most of us here in this community, because let's be honest, we've seen some people in the gameplay sim focus, you know, those mentalities get gas too, also over visuals. It's sprinkled. It is a visual thing, man. I think 2K wows with details. I've always said that. Of them for the same reason. But I just happen to be one of those people who analyze gameplay as well. And I can look past the beauty. Again, you know, using the analogy I used last week, you know, even though I use this for Madden, it could be the same thing. You know, it's that beautiful chick with the worst breath you've ever smelled. 2K tends to have that sometimes. I mean, she's fire. You know, it's kind of like, why this, why that? No game is perfect, but that's what I'm saying, man. It's like the beauty basically blinds a lot of people. And I don't get that. I mean, because I'm rooting for 2K for this reason, and we'll go into this and I'll throw it to Smitty. 2K could very well set the standard that I'm looking for. You hear myself and Smitty and Azure always talk about a few components. The interruptible animation, non-two-man sequenced animation. And let me explain this, guys, for those of you that may not understand what we're referring to. I hear people say this about Madden all the time. People always say, I hate canned animation. Let me tell y'all a little secret. Every video game has canned animation. That's called mocap. What y'all are referring to is sequences. That's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see this automatic sequence that plays out. Most recognized in Madden with DB and wider interaction. However, improved in 18. Still, you see when it starts and ends. 2K17 was riddled with that. All over the place. Drawing you in an animation. Animations that you can't pass out of. And I mean, y'all have seen it, right? If they deliver on that piece alone that they're talking about in their gameplay, they have set the bar. And that puts every other game on notice, particularly Madden. Because unlike other people, I'm not sitting around waiting for 2K football or another company. No. I'm using 2K's product that they have and pushing that in the face of the devs and the suits. Y'all got to get here. This is your competition. I don't care if it's basketball versus football. This is it. They setting the bar. Detail-wise, guess who's 2K's competition? MLB The Show. They like this. As far as details, like, you know, what things do and the dirt kicking up and when you slide, all of that stuff, MLB The Show is probably, them and 2K got those details together. But I hope they deliver. Man, if they deliver on half, I mean, Smitty, just half of the AI stuff that was described in that blog. And shout outs to OG. We go way back.
Yeah.
They got it. And on top of that, if they deliver with stability and, you know, not just the animation alone, the AI stuff, they got it. And I am rooting for them more than anybody else because you've heard myself say this a million times. How many times have y'all heard me say this? Go back and watch previous videos. They are too good. It's too good of a game to have those simple legacy problems holding them back. If they have eliminated those things, best basketball game of all time, hands down. NBA Live will not be a better game than NBA 2K this year as a whole. There will be aspects you might like, sure. It will not blow 2K out the water. Even if you prefer live gameplay, it will not blow 2K out of the water. We have been telling y'all that. But we have to wait and see it, man, because, listen, they could tell us anything. You know, just like, you know, those who think the world is flat. You can say that. I can say it's round. You can say it's, I mean, but somebody got to prove something. 2K has to prove it with the gameplay, period. They have to prove it, as I see my second team defense here getting torched. They have to prove it. They have to. If they do it, guess who's going to be on the very next show after it release? Guys, oh my Lord. Oh my, oh, 2K is phenomenal. That'll be us.
Yep.
We give credit where credit is due. We got to go at you when you lie to us. Same thing we're doing with Madden. And we're going to get at Madden again tonight. But what's your thoughts on that, Smitty? I already know where you're going with it, but in terms of what you read, I mean, that's too much stuff for us to probably try to dissect.
Yeah, yeah.
But in terms of the AI blog, the animation, and how everything's supposed to work out, how you feel about it? What are your expectations on that?
I mean, my expectations pretty much is I'm looking to see them play smarter in the open floor, and I'm looking to see how much control I actually have as a user over my control being hindered or taken away. So I need to see, you know, like how, like when it comes to me driving to the rack, when it comes to me playing in the post, when it comes to going around, you know, under, over screens, colliding with other players, how much is my control actually going to be hindered? You know, how much suction are we going to see? Suction is going to happen, guys. So we could just get over that notion that as if it's just not going to happen. That's going to happen. It happens in every single sports game. That's just the way it is. Okay. But I'm looking to see how much of it is going to happen. So like I've said before, you know, I've said, you know, it's about core gameplay, innovative efficiency. I'm looking to see how much these guys efficiently innovate as far as whatever it is that they worked on, whether it's something that Live did before and 2K's now getting it. Fine. Awesome. I'm glad they did, because that's what I wanted them to do. But now I want to see how much better are the ball physics actually as far as tangibility. Because the unfortunate thing, well, no, excuse me, fortunate thing is we have a demo that's going to come out in a few, well, next week, next Friday, we'll be able to play the Prelude. And I want to see how those physics play out.
And why is that, Smitty? Sorry to cut you off, but once again, a week before launch, come on. Why they do that? I ain't mad at them, though. They stick to their guns. I'm just saying, nobody's complaining about that. Nobody.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Yeah.
Just saying. We got to keep it 100 with all of these companies.
Yeah.
Stop being fanboys, everybody. I'm calling you out. Stop it. Stop being a Live fanboy. Stop being a Madden fanboy. And stop being a 2K fanboy. We are supposed to be gamers that hold these companies to a standard. Period. Y'all need to stop with that. All right, I'm done. Let me look at the game. Go ahead, Smitty.
Yeah, no, you're right though. I mean, but that's true. But yeah, I'm just saying though, with what 2K is doing, I need to see how they deliver on that. At what rate is everything going to work? At what rate are things going to possibly falter? And also at the same time, the complaint. You know what I mean? The complaint levels. What are the complaint levels going to be like? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we going to see? And look, it seems like these guys are saying they're going to stick to their guns, but yeah, they'll stick to their guns until that hand come down and put their hand on that shoulder and say, yo, you need to go ahead and dial that back. You need to go ahead and adjust this and tweak that. And it's all going to be because people going to complain. Because what is it that happens? Every single time we talk about we talk about these games, whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whatever. And these guys work, they innovate or whatever, or try to innovate or try to make things happen. Every single year that ends up happening, the game ends up getting nerfed at some point, or it gets hit with some update that brings the gameplay level down from what it was at launch. It's happened multiple years with 2K. It's happened multiple years with Madden. It won't surprise me at all, especially with the stuff that OG and Zara are able to work on. And big time shout out to those guys, because those guys are finally getting the opportunity to really take the reins and do what they need to do with both the offense and defensive AI. Because I know, don't get me wrong, they were working with the team and everything with their engineers and such, but it's like this year, like you can just look at the different articles and you can truly see that they really got their handprint on it. Like first they got a fingerprint, then they got one hand, now they just submerged. And they just say, yo, get in there. You guys let them know what it is y'all want to do, and y'all just swan dive into it and do what y'all want. You know what I mean? Make it happen. And that's what exactly those blogs, they sound just like how Zara would be talking over the years back then, you know, when he was on his YouTube channel. Like that's Zara stuff right there.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Don't play video games.
So I'm proud of those guys, man. I'm proud of them. But I want to see these systems and such flourish in the game throughout. I really do so badly. And like what Sim said, we'll be on here the 15th and we'll fanboy the heck out. I know he just made the fanboy comment, but I will fan straight out. If it's like, yo, did you see what they did? Did you see how they did? And it's because we've been saying for so long, it's like they're right there, but then they drop the ball so many times. Now, if they come through with it, I'll be very proud. I'll be very happy. I want to see the defensive rotations and all that stuff play the way that it's showing. Like it looks real good in the previews and such. But let's see what happens once everybody gets their hands on it. Because just like when we talk about Madden, everybody out here is not a former head coach or offensive or defensive coordinator. Like they be playing football, X's and O's to the T, and then they complaining. No, same thing with basketball. Ain't nobody no head coach, no assistant coach. They're not a film room guy or girl or whatever. And not everybody. You got some people that know what's up, but not everybody knows exactly what the heck is up to be like, oh, that's not basketball and that doesn't happen. Like, and then you see the game get screwed with, and now it's not the way that it needs to be. Ace won't work the way it needs to be. You know, certain elements of gameplay won't function the way it needs to be, or how they intended it to be, because people want a patch to happen. So that's my whole thing, man. That's pretty much all. That's pretty much all I got to say on it. I just want these guys to be able to honestly stick to their guns and stand behind the work they did without it having to be knocked down, because you're going to see some people come in droves and complain about aspects of the game. And I don't want them to bend and just be like, oh, well, now we did this update and now this is how the game is. Like, no. And no having to go back to the main menu because of some update due to somebody complaining. Please, okay? If this is the vision y'all set out for this 2K, same thing goes with Live and all these other games. If these are the visions you set out for the game, stick the heck to that. Don't change it for nobody. I don't give. If they want to do that, look, do what Access Football and the Canadian guy did or what have you. Make your own game and do your own settings. Set it the way you want it to be, and then that way you can stand behind it and put your own stamp on it and say, I made the game the way I personally wanted to, and I'm happy the way it is. That's it. Let us, on the other hand, that want the vision, let us be able to enjoy the game, period. That's it. So I'll throw it back to you, man.
Yeah, and then I'm going to bring Hollywood in here and get his take, and just wanted to say this real quick, too. if we're going to be sim gamers, recognize that some players are better than others. I'm talking about the players in the game. Ratings should matter, because what I see happen so often with sports games, people, when stuff doesn't work, it's broken. Why didn't he set this? Why didn't he? Do we ever take in consideration that maybe he's just not as good as this guy? Maybe that guy can't stay in front of Russell Westbrook or Steph Curry or whoever that's got a little speed. I need y'all to do that, because I'm going to be looking at that as well, because it always happens. Sometimes things aren't broken. It's just that the video game mentality kicks in, and because it's not working the way you thought it should work, oh, it's broken. So remember, the more and more these games get simulation with all of the ace movement and AI and all of that, there's going to be some things you don't like. Some of your players are not going to look that good out there. What you think, Hollywood, man, from reading the the blogs about AI and the way the animations are supposed to be, that nothing scripted, quote unquote? How do you feel, man? I mean, does it read well, or are you anticipating actually seeing that work?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't read the blog. I mean, I've heard some things about it. Mm-hmm. The only thing I'm concerned about is that I don't want the AI to cheat me. With all the new stuff they got, if we plan, I don't want the animations happen or the CPU hand go through somebody's body. And I don't mind body clipping either. That's all fine and dandy, but I don't want the CPU to cheat me. When you slow it down, you replay and be like, man, the CPU just cheated. That wasn't even fair, And I want ball tangibility to be right. As far as, the CPU can get nice, clean steals, but when you're trying to steal, your hand goes right through it. The ball doesn't even move. And I want to see that when you passing the basketball, it doesn't just go to where the CPU wants you to throw it. Stuff like that. Those little small cheats are the only thing I really care about. And that's the gameplay stuff I don't like. When the CPU cheats you, somehow they got to come up with a degree of difficulty that doesn't cheat you. And I think MLB The Show does that pretty well. You don't see a lot of cheats when you high up the difficulty. And with 2K, there's just a lot of cheats. And as far as them dumbing down the game, it's the same thing with Madden. Rex and them probably say, man, people at EA Play, they were talking about how strong those zones were. They probably dumbed it down a little bit, but they probably thought it was still going to be okay. But it wasn't. And even Rex even said that. So I think the bottom line is money. They want to satisfy as many consumers as they can. So sometimes that dumbed down stuff comes into play because they're thinking about the bottom line, the sales. They don't want to make people mad. They're trying to get the masses on that game. So I think that's the part of dumbing the game down. But just those gameplay things is what I don't like.
Absolutely, man. See, that's a great point. Difficulty. We'll see. I mean, listen, I'm not picking on them because we all know what old Big Bad All Madden does. That's always another thing, is the game going to play out organically? And maybe, 2K has a setting, the same thing, Madden devs say All Pro is the most balanced gameplay, even though, again, it's a stick the chest out contest. People feel like they always got to go to the top level when it's built-in cheats. But how is this stuff going to play out? Like you said, body clipping, it's an industry thing. Maybe that one day there'll be a company who figures out how not to do that. But like you said, does it acknowledge at least there was a clip? Like if an arm goes through a stomach, at least let me see the guy move after the fact to at least, acknowledge it happened. But is it going to be those things where the ball is just thrown through the stomach or the arm, your whole body goes through another body to complete the dunk? All of that stuff is left to be determined. If they have rectified that, great. And again, they set the bar. We shall see. So, myself, after reading it all, man, even just looking at some of it now, it sounds phenomenal. And like Smitty said, and Czar, these are guys that, of course, I'm sure they don't have final say, but 2K does appear to be more in line with the devs on the corporate level, whereas EA plays another level. It seems like, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Hopefully it doesn't offend nobody, but it definitely seems like the devs sometimes get their legs cut off. They don't have as much room to do what they want to do or be allowed this amount of time or allowed X amount of engineers and animators, etc.
That's a good point, Sim.
Yeah, you know, they don't. It's the truth. 2K, however, Smitty has alluded to this in the past. It's been one way the whole time. They've always been. Think about it. When they came in with NFL 2K, the very first one, that was the first football game I saw where it's cold out there and the breath is, you know, you can see the breath come. I was like, yo, what's this about? 2K basketball was the first game that I saw sweat on the chest. I was like, yo, you know, that caught my eye. Like, you know, back then I was about gameplay, but not how I am now. You know what I mean? You was younger. But I noticed that, like, woo, that's like the real deal. They've always been on that. So we're going to see. I just hope that they deliver. That's all I ask for. There are going to be problems. And again, I want the same energy. You guys need to have the same energy when that game drops and there's issues. I want to see you same guys. That's so gung-ho 2K. I want to see you also out here saying this is wrong, this ain't right, please fix this. How can we get this better? I don't want to see the whole, well, you know, this is what they're going to say. I mean, no game is perfect. Yeah, that's what they're going to say because they love 2K. We got to hold them all to the same standard, man. And another direction I wanted to go in real quick, guys, is the marketing thing. And I throw it, you know, to Smitty and then Hollywood as well. And then after that, you know, we'll probably be able to sum up this 2K and we can dive in a little bit into Madden. Before I talk about marketing, though, let me give you all a quick history lesson in terms of borrowing. Maybe some of you guys didn't follow us a few years ago. Maybe some of y'all don't know this. Scott O'Gallagher, y'all know who he used to work for? EA. I knew Scott before he went to EA because we were sim gamers. Myself and him, we were on Czar's show. Y'all remember that? Developed a relationship, had mutual respect. He was all over YouTube. He knew about all of us, you know, because when he was overseas playing ball, he said he Sim Standard, along with others, you know, kept him going. You know, he'd watch YouTube. He's a diehard sim gamer, right? At EA. And, you know, this is years ago, so there's no big deal. I guess I could say this now. We sitting down side by side. I think Smitty was there. We having a conversation, and he proceeds to tell me why 2K looks so good, right?
Oh, yeah.
He talked about the two-man sequencing. This was way back then. I was like, Dad, you know what? You got a point. I never realized that. And here's my little 3-year walking in the picture. Hi, Daddy. Hey, little man. Go back upstairs, okay? So then he tells me, yeah, that's why it's so clean. He's like, pay attention to it. Like, watch when this happens. Watch when that happens. It's synced together to make it look good. And I was like, wow, they do a great job. I get it. Going off of that just a little bit, Clint Oldenburg told me why it is the pass protection and the, you know, the blocking looked so good in 2K8. Broke the whole thing down. He said, yo, go back and play the game. It's all scripted. I was like, huh? He said, go look at it. You're going to see times where they're going to do the exact same move every time, but it looks good. I was like, dang, you're right. Anyway, this is not the bag on 2K. This is just video game stuff. Follow me. I'm going to bring y'all up to speed. Now, the conversation I had with OG, he was telling me why he felt that live eventually at one day would be able to eclipse 2K. I said, why is that? He said, because, man, what we're trying to do is we're trying to loosen. We want it to be independent. It's going to look ugly because, you know, when it's not sequenced beautifully, it's going to be ugly. It's not going to look as clean, but it don't always look clean in the real world. Can we not agree to that? Haven't we seen some funky looking things watching NBA? Because it's real life. It's just like if I smack my hand like that, it's going to fall a certain way. It ain't going to be pretty, right? So he explains this to me. Fast forward, whatever happens at EA, 2K offers the job. Gets over there. Some of the gameplay stuff that we said that Live already had, didn't 2K start doing that? Y'all think maybe OG is a part of the brainchild? Bringing his ideas? Y'all remember the independent dribbling that NBA 14 had? NBA Live 14? Whose idea was that? OG. Mm-hmm. Haven't you seen 2K's dribbling try to resemble that? Why would you think so? Because that's his idea. Now, fast forward to 2K18, based on the blog, what are they trying to do now? They are trying to unchain the animations. And guess who told me that like 4 or 5 years ago? Who? OG. So for people to sit here and act like people don't borrow from each other, or one company might have a brilliant idea or have a dev who has a great idea. Guys, I'm just showing you this. I'm saying this so y'all can understand that the vision was actually there with Live. And Live has carried it out. They've gotten it to now where Live 18 at least looks better. And those animations are still unconnected. Now, I can't say 100%. I definitely won't say that. But for the most part, your user control and all of that, you don't get drawn into animations. It's way more independent than it is in 2K17. 2K18, we'll see. Because if they have mastered that along with everything else they have, it's out of here. But I just wanted to set that scene, man, because some of you guys, you don't have the same access. Obviously, I get it. But you got to sometimes, man, just look at things for what they are. Because there's plenty of people here in this chat, people we talk to on Twitter that figure this stuff out on their own. It ain't like I tell them anything. They just have the intelligence and the wisdom enough to watch and see what's going on in the gaming community. That's it. All right, so now that you know that, let me get to the marketing aspect. I'm going to be honest with you, Smitty in Hollywood. That neighborhood don't do nothing for me. I'm going to just be real. It's dope. It's nice, but it doesn't excite me to be able to run the neighborhood and go get a haircut and, you know, go work out and go to Foot Locker. It doesn't do anything for me. However, here's the competition. I sure would like to see some stuff like that in CFM, though. Being able to work, you know. Yeah. So there's some things there. But what I'm saying is what they showcased doesn't do anything for me. But look at how many people were blown away. I get it. It's immersive. And that's why I don't judge. Some people love that. And that's fine. I don't judge anybody. I have my opinion. You have yours. But what I'm saying is that to me doesn't attract me. Just like the park wasn't that attractive. Unless I could always go in there with Smitty and Azure, or maybe Hollywood, or DJ, or Neff, somebody like that. Some people that I'm always with. Other than that, those modes to me are horrible when you have to play with randoms. And in this day and age, I don't always have, you know, we can't always get on the same schedule. So what I'm saying is I could argue that those aspects don't do anything for me. You understand what I'm saying? And it's the same way you have to look at every other game. Everything ain't for everybody. But it's clear that 2K, or I ain't gonna say borrow, I would just say they're taking the same approach as Live as far as marketing. And look, that is where it's at. Everyone, the majority of people now are into online team play and all that type of stuff. So this is what they're promoting. And it just goes back to what I said, man. You know, what about that today really got y'all excited? Like, I'm really asking. So I'll throw it to you, Smitty, man. As far as the neighborhood itself, again, I'm not downing that mode. It looks great. The more options and the more things you can have in a video game, you know, I'm, you know, shaking the pom-pom for that. But did it really do anything for you? For you, like, how did you feel just watching that trailer that Run the Neighborhood? Take away.
Well, I mean, it was nice to see. It's nice to see in vision, but it didn't do much. It didn't do much for me because their servers are shoddy. So if their servers were on point and they already had a historical track record of having very stable servers, like, for example, if it was basically, if they had the server stability, like, well, at least from my experience, what's the name of the game? Like Gears of War or Halo, which I've never, I mean, over all the years I've played various Halos on various consoles and platforms, I've never had any hit detection issues, never had any drop off. Maybe once or twice in a good blue moon I had drop off, but that's it. If it was like that, oh man, I'd be excited, I'd be elated for this. And and the thing is, not for me, for the people that play my career and stuff like that. Because see, me, I'm a franchise guy. I'm all about my league. That's my mainstay. Now, would I have a problem with playing my career? No, I don't have a problem with it. It's just that at the end of the day, it all comes down to core gameplay, tangibility. My league, my career, my GM don't really mean that much of anything if the core, at least to me, if the core gameplay is not where it's at, where it needs to be. Same thing with jumping online. Excuse me, because you're talking about jumping online, that still is an extension of core gameplay. And if the core gameplay isn't right, I'm not going to want to mess with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to play in my own little lane and stay in my own capacity with my league. And that's it. And I'll have fun. But if it's not there, though, that's going to be a big time problem for me. So that's why
I'll be. That's my baby right there.
Yeah. So, but this is the main thing I'm saying as far as 2K is concerned. That's going to be my biggest concern, is that. Because all these bells and whistles, because essentially all these things are bells and whistles. If what happens on that court if it's not right, sorry. And this is like, I'm with Sim on the notion of, if they get this stuff, I would say this. If these elements and everything works, I would say with at least 65% to 70% efficiency, I am ecstatic. Yeah. Okay. Now I'll still be frustrated with some stuff because you'll see some foolery happen, but at the same time, I can live with it. And see, this is my thing too. See, I'm looking at some footage right now from shout out to Good Game, bro. He had got some off-screen stuff he captured, and I'm looking at it here. Just like that bootleg cell phone footage we got.
No, Smitty, I want you to break it down, Smitty. I want you to tell me everything that's happening there, fully basketball. I want you to give me the full review.
Yeah.
On that clip. If you don't do that, I'm disappointed in you, Smitty.
No, I can't.
Just saying.
I can't do that. I mean, I know we do that. I know that's done with Madden and everything, but
why can't you though? It's what? How long is it clip? How long is it clip?
Oh no, he got like how many? Let me see. How long is this? This is an hour.
That's long enough, Smitty.
That's long enough.
You don't need to play the game. All you need to do is look at that video, and I want to hear everything good and everything bad right now.
Well, I can't tell you everything. But I mean, what I can say, because see, I gotta play it. That's my main thing. I gotta actually play it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Stop, Smitty. All you gotta do is look at it. Just look at it. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do.
No, man, I gotta actually play the game, man. I gotta play it first before I could say anything, really give anything. But but I understand what you're saying, man, because this is how it gets treated. We're supposed to swan dive on the game and we're supposed to go in feet first on the game but the bottom line though is that, like what I was saying, even off the cell phone footage, I mean, it was looking and resembling what was going on in live. And I'm like, yo, it looks like they freed up the game.
Yeah, it did.
You know what I'm saying? It looks like they freed it up. I'm like, wait a second
some
now.
stuff you can see. It did. It did.
Yeah, like that's why I was like, wait a minute now. They got something here. Whoa, hold up. So that's why I said, now I look forward. It gets me excited for the demo now. Because then now when it comes to that demo play, and if I'm feeling that and it's playing and feeling and moving and grooving like that, hey, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely will be feeling real, real good come the game releasing. So,
Smitty, hold on real quick, because I just need to get clarification on this, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, okay, no, go ahead.
But this is so far from the truth. I just want to know, is he talking about this guy or just in general? I see somebody that's replying to Kia, and they said exposed for being a Madden arcade fan as he praises the game on Twitter despite posting videos on how bad defense is. I need to get clarification in this chat. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm kind of second looking. If anybody is accusing NY Kia of being an arcade fan, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Smitty. My bad. I need to hear this because this is funny.
Oh no. We gotta, like I said, guys, we gotta see what's up with the game. And see, I'm glad that there's a demo, because honestly, these events they did and put in, you know, people are not able to, these people, D-Man, Shakedown, all these dudes, whatever, they're not going to honestly be able to talk to the devs and really be able to dive into the game and really find out what's up. Because thing is, when they go to these events, number one, it's a one-day event. They're only playing the game for a handful of hours, and then they're done. There's no way they got to fully digest everything that Zara and OG put out on them blogs and really got to see all that stuff play out in full detail to be able to come back and report all of that. There's no way. That's no. And on top of that, they couldn't even go into instant replays to look at replays. So there's no way they could have did that. And see, that to me is a big time problem. I mean, it's marketing at the end of the day, but what I want to see is, okay, bet this is the detail they gave. Let me highlight this demo and let me be able to see what it is that they're doing. Let you know what I mean? I want to see this game talk to me and let me know something. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, whoever it is that said what they said about Kia, yeah, you talking crazy. You talking off the side of your neck. I don't know what the heck that is. Kia is country miles far from that. But yeah, and that's the other key point right there. You said, Jason, right there. It's a big difference between 50 people being on that server and 2,000 at once. That's the main thing. That's one of the biggest points right there. These people playing it right now, it's more of everybody at this event being able to see it firsthand and just say, oh, wow, that looks nice. But when you got people, when this game drops and you have all these people slam on the server at one good time, that'll be the moment of truth. And that's the thing, like Crunk Girl said earlier, they need to have dedicated servers, and they don't have dedicated servers. They need to have that. Because for a game like this, especially with all the problems they have, they just need to make the investment and do it. Period. So absolutely. I'll throw it back to you, man.
And just a quick plug, man. Make sure y'all check out Crunk Girl, man. She Get Crunk, I believe the name of it. She just started a podcast herself. I was actually lucky enough to attend on the last one. Make sure y'all check it out, man. You know, if y'all don't know who that is, I've praised her many times. You know, another lady of gaming, I like to say, who really knows her stuff, like heavily involved in games. So make sure y'all support her, man. But I'm going to throw it to Hollywood and get his thoughts on this topic. And right after that, Let's Get Crunk. Thank you, Crunk. I said it wrong. So Let's Get Crunk is the name of the podcast. But yeah, I'm going to throw it to Hollywood. And then right after that, we can go dive into some Madden. You know, we bashed 2K long enough. Let's bash Madden also. So, Hollywood, man, what are your thoughts on what we just spoke on here? You know, as far as when you saw the trailer, and again, let's preference it. Nobody is trashing it. That's a great idea. But what did it do for you? Like, how did you feel about it? Does it mean anything to you to be able to run the neighborhood, so to speak?
Well, before I answer that question, let's go back to the issue where the guy was talking about Kia. He was talking about me. Because I saw it in my inbox on Twitter today. And I was like, arcade? What's he talking about, arcade? You know how people just talk crazy, so I didn't pay no attention to it. But he's talking about me.
Jesus.
He's talking about me, so.
Well, same thing still applies. If you're accusing that, whatever, dude. But yeah, go ahead.
I'll never touch arcade. But anyway, when I saw 2K today, when I first saw the trailer, I got excited. You know, I like the immersion. You know, I liked all of that, where you can go into a Foot Locker, and instead of just putting in your XP or whatever to get your shoes, you can actually go in the Foot Locker and buy your shoes. You know, actually sit down in the barbershop and get a haircut. All that I liked. Yeah, turn that down for a little bit. I like that. But there's that but. Then I thought, just like Smitty, I was like, okay, well, I'm not really a my career guy, but I think, you know, I tried a little bit last year, didn't hang on to it, but I was like, man, I might try it. Now there's a little more immersion in there. So there may be more people may be attracted to that my career this year. And I think those servers are going to get bogged down. You're talking about so many people are going to be on that mode to jump in, people walking around the neighborhood. You're talking about long wait times. Now, if they pull it off, wow. Yeah. But I'm down. That's the next thing I thought about. You know, the load times, you can't get on, the server freezing up on you, all of that, because that's a big taking what they're doing. That's a huge taking. And all those people are going to be on, trying to get on. So I think that's the only thing I'm worried about. It's going to take the fun out of it, dealing with all the problems. But if it works, hey, man, I shout out to 2K if they pull it off. But I'm pretty sure they know it's gonna hit those servers hard. So hopefully they prepare for it.
I hope so.
That's my thought.
Yeah, man. I hope they pull it off, because, like you said, it's gonna come down to that. And to be fair to them, I didn't play much of Park since 2K16. I know there was a ton of issues there. I heard there were issues last year. It seems like Pro-Am, at least on the surface, doesn't have as many issues. I don't know. I could be wrong there, but maybe it got better. But I know I saw a tremendous amount of people complaining about servers even up until now for 2K17. So that's definitely a concern. So we'll see. Again, if they pull it off, guys, as we close out this 2K segment, if they pull all of that off along with all of those gameplay changes, and my goodness, it is massive, I will be very happy. I will promote them. We actually plan on having OG here on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they pull it off. A quick question. I've seen people today say, why can't Madden do that? Listen, let me say this as we transition into the Madden topic. I need you guys to start paying attention. I'm going to be blunt for a minute. Y'all need to start paying attention. If we're going to give this information, and I'm not talking about new people. I see people who watch the show, comment on interviews and EA Play reportings, and you still asking the same question. Why are y'all asking questions that you've been educated on? We don't have to agree. None of us have to agree with how EA is doing it. I don't think any of us do. But if we have the answer, why are we still acting like we don't know why? Of it here on this show. 2K, obviously, from the gate has had a different model. There was a time where EA was doing that. Then there's David Ortiz. Then there's Ian Cummins. Then there's Phil Frazier. Then here comes Rex in the game. But then, now guess what? We're starting to hear these investor calls every year that kind of let you know who really controls stuff. We got the answers, man. If that ain't enough, Rex said himself in my interview, very candidly, as if I might say, yeah, that was a marketing call. That's just what they wanted to do this year. Said the same thing on 4 Verts. Matter of fact, make sure y'all watch his streams. You really want to hear some truth. Y'all catch him on the time when he just chilling and he tell you some stuff.
Oh,
really told you exactly what's going to go on in this patch. I mean, he basically said, well, this is what we're looking at doing. This is what's going to happen. I'm just saying, man, listen, if y'all have noticed some of the stuff I don't respond to, that's just how I'm carrying it now. I can't waste my time with those of you that don't even want to. You halfway in the community and halfway out. Like, come on, you got to do your own research. And we basically giving you the open book. We giving you all the answers. It's right there spelled out for you. So I need you guys to start paying attention. Stop asking these obvious questions that we know about. Instead, why don't you direct that energy again, Smitty? When you're giving feedback or your criticism, if you're going to at me, please include Rex and Clint at least. Why? Because the numbers don't lie. I have seen Rex in presentations show how they look at Twitter. If it's just coming from me, who does it look like it comes from? Me. One little old me. But what if 100 of y'all sent the same thing? We got a problem. All 100 people are saying these zones is messed up. That's what actually happened with zones, by the way. That's why they're getting fixed. Because all of us attacked when we were at EA. Oh, what y'all do? Y'all done messed up something. Then everybody started seeing it in the videos, and I perpetrated that. I'm gonna put my neck out there. I said, see, people are already seeing it in the video. They ain't even played the game. And then guess what happened about a couple of days after that? Now you're hearing the devs say, yeah, don't worry, guys, we're gonna fix that. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
But if it comes from Smitty and Sim, we're only two people. And again, I'm not being an idiot and just dismissing you or being a jerk. I'm saying if you're on Twitter, send it to him. You don't need to send it to me to relay. I don't like dealing with middlemen. Me personally, I go to the source. I need y'all to start doing the same thing. Anyway, Madden. Let's bash Madden a little bit, guys. Let's be fair. Let's bash them all. Okay. What are your biggest pet peeves for Madden 18? I'm going to ask both Hollywood and Smitty. I'll come to you first, Smitty. What I'm referring to, just so I can set the stage, things that are currently in the game. You know, we know zones and stuff like that. Let's kind of stay away from what they need to add, because we know that, you know, we'll definitely do a show. And actually, I said that would be this week, the bomb. So that changed the narrative for this show. But we'll do a wish list show here, maybe next week, the week after, something like that. So let's exclude the things that they don't have. What are your biggest pet peeves with Madden 18, the way it has released? I got a lot of stuff to say, so I'll go last. What do you think, Smitty? What are your biggest pet peeves?
I mean, the biggest ones are the ones that are out there primarily. But I will say this. When you get, and this is something I was saying before as well, in 17, you still have it where when the CPU performs a juke move, spin move, or what have you, which that does need to be dialed back, which they are going to be dialing back a bit. So I'm glad they are. But if you perform a spin or a juke move, and even if you're taking a direct line angle, like, I mean, I take control of the defender, I got a direct beeline to hit that ball carrier. They make me do the slip and falling over animation like he beat me when he didn't. And that was going on in Madden 17 as well. And I'm like, I'm not really, I'm not feeling that. So it's like, that's one of the big things that I don't like on the defensive side of it. On the offensive side, listen, I like to break a big run just like the next guy. But at the same time, it is, like I said, the juking is a bit too effective. The offensive moves are a little bit too effective. Like they're too effective right now. You can break all these tackles. You can evade. You know, it's like the first defender you're always making miss. Now, don't get me wrong. It is hard. It is a challenge to get to the quarterback. I mean, to get to the quarterback, to get to that running back, that ball carrier. That's why, everybody is not great at open field tackling like that. Not everybody should be able to stop a running back just like that. But at the same time, though, there should be more to it than that. Like it shouldn't. They shouldn't be able to shake you off with legit jukes like that over and over and over again like that. like every single running play you can do it. So that's one thing. But also, like you said there in the chat, statue quarterbacks, you know, them standing around, standing still, not necessarily doing anything, not, you know, like they'll stand tall in the pocket forever and not do anything at all. Hold on, let me pause this 2K thing here. All right, so you know, let me see here. What else would I say is like a big thing for me? Yeah, see, it's hard to say without tying it back into zone play. So it's like you still like I need to be okay. Like Kia had pointed out, the shading. You know, I know we talked about that last week though. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of hard to say what else there is without those, because a lot of it ties right back to the zone play.
That's a good one though, because that was actually going to be one of mine. So I'll mention this real quick to help you along.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why is that backwards? I mean, little stuff like that, man. But I will explain my theory. Go ahead, Smitty.
All right, no, go ahead.
No, well, I want to give it to Hollywood first.
To Hollywood? Go ahead, give it to Hollywood. You got it.
What you think, Hollywood? I mean, you know the spiel. It ain't like I got to coach you along. You know what we're talking about. As far as Madden 18 right now, what are your biggest pet peeves or nuances? And even this could include things that came from 17 into 18.
Really, one of the main pet peeves I got is just player movement.
Yeah,
you can tell a lot of different parts of the game. You can see the player movement looks good, like the player intros or the player celebrations. You can see it. There's no robotic in it, but the actual gameplay, I think it's going to get there. You can tell they're doing a little bit more and a little bit more of a really good flowing animations. But that's pretty much with me. And as far as just a small bit of talking about what the game needs, just the basic things like football, like the chain game, checking first downs. You know, like, because sometimes when we're playing the game, like, did I get it? Did I get it? We don't see it until we look at the scoreboard and go, oh, it says inches on there.
Yeah, I would love to see that, by the way.
I mean, that's just the basic fundamental football. Not saying we have to get dynamic weather and all that other stuff, which eventually, hopefully we'll get, but just the basic things that we don't have. Like this year, there was no coin toss in the beginning of the game. In overtime, you see the coin toss, but not in the beginning. Just the basic things that should be in football. That was really my pet peeve.
That's an interesting one too, Hollywood. Because you know what the devs told us when they made that decision. When was that? Like what, 15? One of them games. Behind it was, you know, to try to get you into the game faster or whatever. And you know, I kind of felt like, well, maybe you should have did a poll on that. You know what I mean? Like maybe people like that. So that's an interesting one. For me, man, I don't even want to go forever, but let's talk about things that came over. And I know I'm going to miss some, but just obvious things like the shading. I really feel like, how do you miss some of these things? I have a theory, and I will go into that in a moment. A little stuff like that. You know, you put in this feature as far as allowing, you know, shading to actually work now. And I say feature because now when you do it, you'll actually see them move to the left or move to the right, you know, so you know they're doing it. But like NYKia discovered, if you shade inside, the receiver, especially on a slant, he automatically beats you to the inside. And it's kind of like they pull you away from it. There goes those two-man animations again, though it appears. That is another pet peeve. I understand how I broke it down when we talked about 2K. That's the only way you can make things look good. But again, ding, ding, ding. This is another reason why I hope 2K delivers on what they're promising. Because if they're able to do it and make that game look beautiful without sequenced animations, and they say, all right, y'all, I know why y'all did the two-man sequences with DB and wider interaction, but you don't have to. because now 2K has perfected it. And guess who else does it better than you? Oh, yeah, FIFA. You're your buddies up north. So now we could say it's possible. Let's make that happen. The sliders. You guys know I've been testing this theory with 0 pass coverage, 0 reaction time. And by golly, isn't that a funny word? It's amazing that it seems like it actually makes the coverage better. Now, shout outs to Bills. I believe Bills is watching. Bills that said on Twitter he doesn't think that the coverage being at 0 is as effective. That might be possible. I'm not a slider guy. I usually, I review some of the heavy hitters out there, your Charter 04s, your Josh C, and Armor and Sword, and Flasco, and Scott Ham, Lethal, those guys, and it's somebody else I know I'm missing. Forgive me. I mentioned your name before, so I don't know. I don't study it as extensive as those guys do. So I recommend guys go to Operation Sports, look at those guys, the Charter 04s and them. I mean, these dudes really do this. You know what I mean? So they are putting in the time to test. Where I haven't, I usually pull from what they've done, tweak it a little bit to my liking, and I come up with something. So I tried the 0 theory, and I showed you guys in the video today. I am seeing superb coverage. Still can beat it, like you should be able to, based on ratings. I have another clip, if I remember, I might post to Twitter tonight. Man coverage against Antonio Brown. I was playing against the Browns, ironically. He's there. AB has like a step on him. That's usually what you see in the NFL. I mean, it's beautiful. AB catches it, hits AB in the back, ball comes out, and I'm like, yo, that's man coverage right there. You won't see that at default. The example I showed you guys in the video, the way my man got his depth on the curl to flat, the purple zone. You ain't seeing that with default settings. That's a problem for me. It's a problem because people have said this for years. Hey, man, I think this is backwards. What's going on, EA? They're testers. Outside of us, who y'all think that, the game changers know everything. No, when we're there for what, 4 days?
Yeah.
Test it out. That's it. But they actually have testers who test the game, both in-house and outsourced. Why is this stuff, okay, let's say we found it. Why is that stuff not being fixed on a year-to-year? I understand there's always new features, et cetera, but I feel like, listen, man, every year you should be perfecting things, little things like that. That seems like an easy fix. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. But little stuff like that, man. Two-man sequences is always going to be an issue for me because let me give y'all another one. This is one of my biggest pet peeves as well, which actually helped reach tackles to get in the game. Smitty knows this. Clint knows this. And like I said, since Smitty and myself has helped this feature to get in, the reach tackles. Why have I been so big on that? Let me tell you one of the things I hate the most. Now, I'm sorry, guys. I keep looking at the game. My bad. Unprofessional. Here's your DN or your D tackle. He's in his animation. He's fighting. He's trying to get off his block. Here's a quarterback. He's standing right by the quarterback. I ain't never looked at it. Right there. Quarterback could probably touch him on the shoulder. He's still doing this. Where's the awareness? Listen, I played football. I played on the defensive side as well as offense. When we were on defense, we're watching. If I'm tied up, if I got a tight end because I was, playing strong safety, if I got a tight end in my grill trying to block me, I'm tussling with him trying to see where the ball is to know where to shake him or whatever. They don't do this in Madden. There's no awareness around their vicinity. That kills me. Now, sometimes you will see sometimes they'll peel off and go after the quarterback. But even when they do it, y'all notice that they turn the wrong shoulder? If you standing right here, why am I going to turn this way to come get you? I'm going to just turn this way. Little stuff like that. It's been in the game for years, and it's no real awareness. However, now y'all see you can reach tackle, you can sack out of a block. That's part of it, but it's still that awareness is still not there. the diagnosing of the play. Smitty will say this the same. We are still hung up on what we heard on that stage at E3 from Andrew Wilson, the man in charge. Diagnose the play like human beings. What was it, Smitty? Like 400 or 300 different calculations per second or something.
Oh, it's 60 calculations per second.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Where's this stuff at?
Yeah.
Have not seen it.
Human, remember those 3 pillars, human intelligence, what was it? Worlds. And,
Living worlds. Whoa. Here's another one, Smitty.
Something else. I can't remember the 3 pillars offhand, but that's what it was. That's what it was. And
honestly, man.
This is the thing. And you know what? Even though, and like I said, if people have been rocking with us, right? Rex has came on this show before. He came on this show when we was doing it on Blog Talk. He came on this show and he straight up said, I'm not fully satisfied with this game until we get all the warps, all the shifts, all the pops out of the way, until that's fully gone. I want this game to be poetry in motion. He's like, and the thing is, he comes outright and straight up says, I know you guys, especially you guys, like he emphasizes us, but especially you guys do not like these 2-man sequences. So it's like he knows that we don't like this stuff. But it's like he has to build the game. The game has to be built up to a point where you could say, you know what? I'm done with it now. Now it's gone. And this is how we work. This is how we got the game built now. And this is how it's going to be. But the game ain't there yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they got to steadily keep building and they got to make those strides to get the game there. It's just, unfortunately, it's going to take them time to get it there. So,
yeah, man, there are still some unbreakable animations still in this game. Another pet peeve. You've seen situations where, like, again, 2 players are engaged, another player runs into them or whatever, and they don't even acknowledge him. That kind of stuff kills me, man. I know it's a video game, but still, I need the awareness, because as much as they promote head tracking, right? And let me explain to you guys that might be new to our process. This is how I view everything. I give feedback based on what I've seen another game do or something that you do in your own game. Do in Madden, in pass coverage of time, they're doing this. You see the linebackers looking to see where they need to go. Why can't we have that same head tracking when you're engaged? Why? I mean, again, I'm not an engineer. I don't know how hard or easy it is. I don't. I just give my feedback. I'm like, it's already in your game. Here's another pet peeve, Smitty. Traits. Hear that traits are jacked up. I'm hearing people say, oh, quarterbacks are not scrambling because they ain't got the right. This kind of stuff, man. Oh, my goodness. It kills me. Now, let me go on to the next point, and I want to definitely hear from you and Hollywood on how y'all feel about this. Theory as to why 18 is the way it is. I told Smitty this earlier. Madden 18, guys, from what I'm seeing, has a tremendous amount of bugs. Now, all games have their share of flaws. We're going to see it very soon when 2K drops and NBA Live drops. They're going to have their bugs. We're going to see it with FIFA and NHL and all these other games alike. You Call of Duty fans, you're going to see it in Call of Duty. But this year, for some reason, I'm seeing bugs that usually don't show up in Madden. Weirdo stuff. I mean, I'm like, wow. I seen a play on Twitter. My goodness, dude. This guy had his defense or offense, I think it was in the middle of the field. Yeah, it was like the Panthers and the Steelers or something like that. Or Falcons, Steelers. The defense was in the middle of the field. The Steelers offense was huddled in the back of the end zone. And I think it was called like offside, something weird. I was like, what in the crazy stuff? Here's my theory. It was Smitty and I's biggest fear. Didn't we tell y'all when they go to this new engine? Y'all remember before we even knew about Frostbite, remember everybody was saying, yo, they needed to get that Battlefield engine. This was even before FIFA had it. Y'all remember this? Man, they need to utilize Battlefield's engine, Frostbite. That would be dope, man. But whenever they do it, that first year, it's probably going to be rough. You know, let's not forget Madden 06. Probably won't be as bad as that. Probably would be more along the lines of, let's make it more recent. Madden 25. We saw that transition, right? They got over fairly smooth. A whole lot done. We said that. Predicting that for a couple years. Okay, fast forward to EA Play. And when we were able to tell you guys about the game, what did we tell y'all? You ain't gonna see no tremendous difference between 17 and 18. This year was more about getting over. What did Rex say in my interview? He basically said the same thing, if you really dissect it. I think, guys, I really believe that the time, but I think this Frostbite integration put some pressure on them. I know this to be fact because I told y'all this, I think, last week. 18 longer than they normally work on Madden for the current year. They were in crunch mode. I think I could say this without getting in any type of trouble or anything. When Smitty and I went down to September, right? And we had an opportunity to see live. We were invited to a live event. I ran into some Madden devs, and they was a little like, yo, oof, this integration is tough. And the sentiment from, I'm not going to go into detail, but what I was hearing from everybody was like, yo, we going to have to push to get this game to the 17's level. And I was like, man, like that. He was like, yeah. I'm talking about engineers from other areas of EA helping. That's how difficult this was. Rex has said as much in his stream, has he not?
Yep.
There's no pass given. No. I ain't giving no pass. I just understand, but I'm still pissed. Y'all hear what I just did there? I understand, but I'm one of the main people out here still giving them feedback about negative things because the feedback don't stop. Even though I understand, my thought process is, well, maybe patches will help, or now maybe y'all know what you must do in Madden 19. Because y'all know how vocal I have been and will continue to be about CFM. I ain't hearing it next year. I get the long shot. No, listen, don't give me that crap for Madden 19, period. I don't care who I got to talk to. I might piss somebody off next time I go there. If I go there next year early, ain't popping, I'm going to have a problem with that. You know, I'm going to keep it professional, but I'm going to talk to this same exec and be like, come on, man. Now you playing. Y'all know I am. Smitty knows I am. Y'all playing, man. This is unacceptable. But at the same time, I get it. I think this is really what happened. Again, not an excuse, but if you look at some of these bugs, Smitty, I just think they didn't get time, man. I think they didn't have enough time to mark. I don't know. They didn't get all their testing in or something because this stuff is ridiculous. What's your thoughts on that, Smitty? Because I know you took the lead on that, man, 2 years ago when we were talking about going into Frostbite, what our concerns were. So based on what we got right now, did that actually come true, what our concerns were, or did they actually get over a little bit better than we expected?
Yeah, well, it's as expected. Bugs and things like that, you try to innovate and things like that or what have you. And this is the reality of when you come over from an engine. People are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe there's so many bugs. I'm like, well, that's what happens when you go to a new engine. You're gonna have shortcomings, you're gonna have things fall short and stuff like that. That's what happens. It's not news. What happened when Madden put that Infinity engine in the game, that physics engine? I said back then, there's going to be new issues, there's going to be new concerns and all kinds of things that we haven't seen before that are going to happen in the game because they implemented that new technology. And they're going to have, it's going to take them some time to build that out. They're going to have to. And that's literally what happened. Said the exact same thing when it came to this Frostbite. I know people kick and scream, and just in general, before they even mentioned Frostbite, said multiple times over, people said, man, they need a new engine. Man, they need an engine. They have to have one. I'm like, okay, so you ready to wait? You ready to wait at least a good 3 to maybe 5 years, right? Because you know that when they bring that engine over, you know they're going to have to take years. It's going to take them time. You know that, right? It doesn't matter who, because I remember, because you see, back then people saying, oh, man, they need to just have the 2K staff, and they need to be the ones making all that. I mean, 2K staff, it doesn't matter who the staff is. It's going to take them years to get it correct. It's going to take them years to get the game right. That's the bottom line. Doesn't matter. And I was saying that a long time ago because of these. I was saying that back then because of these moments right now. And it's showing all over Twitter. It's showing all in this chat and everything else. And I mean, that's it. Some people wait till the moment of truth to also be like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't know this was going to be like this. I'm like, yeah, it's expected. You know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I know it's going to take time. And this is my point. See, I'm going to lay it out one good time. One good time for people. One good time. All right. Because I know people do the whole 2K EA thing. This is pretty much simple right here. 2K had consistent development of their project from start to finish. From the engine being developed to the very first game they built, all the way through to APF and even 2K basketball right now. They purposely had it tailored to, they created an engine and then they augmented it for basketball and they used it for football and built it out. The rest of it, you could fill in the blanks. With EA, that wasn't the exact same case. Like what Sim said earlier, you had Ian Cummings with his vision. Wasn't a good one. You had David Ortiz. In my opinion, he had a good vision, but he was only there for a short stint. Then you had Ian again, and the game just went straight down the toilet. Then you had Phil Frazier come in. Game started to go up a little bit. Then he leaves. Then you get Cam Weber and these guys. So when you have all these people that switch and flip and switch and flip, you can't have all that changeover and then just say, well, they should just be winning. No, it doesn't work that way. So when Rex comes in, he's coming in working off of a code base that who knows how old it is in terms of all that code that's put in. Look at the code base that 2K is working off of. They're working off of code base. They more than likely they got a code base that dates all the way back to Dreamcast level in some facets, and they're building off of that. So when you have, like I've said many times over, consistency with your lead development, consistency in the leadership, and consistency with the lead development, regardless if you had devs interchange. I'm not saying the exact same dev team been there for 20 years or whatever. That's not true. But I can say you have a decent number of core guys that are part of 2K's basketball dev team that have been there for at least 12 years plus. So that does make a big deal. That is a huge deal in terms of, especially when you got guys in marquee roles that build up off of that. So when you look at what Rex is doing, Rex inherited a situation from what somebody else did, and he's building from there. It's not like he got to start over from scratch. So that's just the reality. Now, is Rex building with consistency? Yes, but you want to know what ends up happening? People in the community complain about stuff. Games end up getting patched and nerfed and stuff like that. Then it makes it harder for him to put his vision fully out there at times. But at the same time, those guys, they run into snags and stuff along the way, and they have hardships that they got to go through. So then, therefore, when you're talking about bringing in a brand new engine, okay, it's going to take them a good amount of work to get that engine right. And that's just from historically speaking. I said this a long time ago, that when you bring a game in with a brand new engine, you talking about at least you talking about waiting 5 years. That's a given. And I mean, I'm going by what I've seen just historically what games do. You're talking about a minimum of 3, but at least 5. And I'm not saying give them, and I know people say, oh, you saying give them a pass and blah, 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 blah. No. I'm not saying give them a darn thing. If you don't want to play the game, leave the freaking game on the shelf. All I'm saying is that it's going to be time before you really see this game fully flushed off. You see what I'm saying? Flushed out, excuse me. So that's just part of the reality.
Oh, Smitty, along those lines, mention what was that Rex said about if you don't like it, don't play it.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty dope.
He had played a game, and it was on Twitter. I was trying to find the tweet. I couldn't find it. But he played against somebody in MUT squads. And the guy was complaining about the number of INTs he thrown or something like that or whatever. And he kept going on and on about it to Rex. And Rex just straight up said, look, if you feel the game is broke or you don't like the way the game is playing, then don't play it. Leave the game alone. Don't play it.
There it is.
And I'm like, this is, now mind you, this is the creative director of the game. And he's straight up telling you, look, if it ain't, you know what I'm saying, if it ain't for you, leave it alone. How many times have we said that, Sim, since before going to studio, coming back from the studio? If the game ain't for you and it ain't hitting, leave the game on the shelf. And we tell you guys well before the game even come out, we would say it. So when it comes to this game here, it's no different. But you got Rex saying it. And this is what I strongly suggest some of you guys that go on Twitter and talk as if, I mean, the appearance that I get is that some people, beforehand, it seems as if some of you guys understood. Some people. And I'm not saying people in this chat. I'm not saying anyone in specific. I'm just saying in general. But when I see people talk like they're talking off the side of their neck, I'm like, I thought you understood what was going on. Yeah, so, man. Rex, like he said, like what Sim said, I'm emphasizing it. If you see Rex tweet that he's streaming on Twitch, tune the heck in.
Yes, please.
Listen.
He gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And if you got a Twitch account, log in and start interacting. Don't just run on Twitter and be like, well, how come things are the way? No. Log on Twitch and start asking some questions. Find out what in the world is going on. So then that way you can educate yourself and you can take that education and spread it on. Because a lot of these questions were answered already. People saying, how come it's not patched yet? How come this didn't happen? They got to go through certification. Certification is out of their hands. Rex can't control that. But he said in the stream, I mean, I've watched like 2 or 3 streams of Rex where he's answered the same question multiple times to the point where he said, look, you're just going to have to ask somebody else in the stream to answer that. Because I've already answered it. Like, he tells us what it is. And I mean, that rule of thumb don't just apply to you. That would apply to any of us. If he tells Sim something and I don't know what's going on, he's going to fill me in. I got to ask him. He doesn't have to answer the same question 50,000 times. That doesn't mean he's making himself better than anybody. It's just that he's answered the question. So the point has been made crystal clear in terms of what's going on with the game. They heard it loud and clear. They put in the fix for it and everything else, or what have you. And let me make this part crystal clear, because some people need to understand this concept. Rex is creative director. His title, his job title at Electronic Arts is creative director. Okay, now stay with me. It's not CEO of Electronic Arts. It's not COO of Electronic Arts. He doesn't even own Tiburon. So since he's not the owner and he can't just do whatever the heck he wants the way he wants to, he has bosses. So that means that he can do work a certain way, and he may have somebody come through and say, hey, Rex, you know what? You may have to tune this down, and you may have to do this, that, and the third. So then when you hear situations like what happened at that event, Sim and all these guys go off on it, they're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm glad there's reasons why you got to see iMath put the video out that he put out. You understand? There's a reason behind that. He wants that voice in volume to go out there. So in that way, Rex, this is why when you hear Rex say that he's for the community and he wants our input and feedback, he wants our feedback so then he can say, hey, look, you got people on Twitter and stuff. This is what is going on. He's got bosses too and stuff. He's got stuff he's got to prove, even though he has his own vision. This is what I'm trying to do. And look, see what's going on here. This is why it needs to happen. This is why that change needs to take place. So I just want to put that food for thought out there because this is part of reality. You can have a boss. Some people have bosses out here, and they may do stuff that you feel makes zero sense at all whatsoever. But guess what? You don't run the company. So if you don't run the company, you can't call the shot. You can't tell them how you're going to run it. You got to follow what they say. And that's the bottom line. That's all I'm saying. So just digest that, tat it on your arm or your brain, whatever. But just understand that that's part of this. Okay? I understand he has a job, and I understand that, we have frustration event, but let's not forget that this is he still has a job to do, and he's still got bosses and stuff. So
that's it.
And you can disagree. You can disagree. That's fine. That's just the reality.
I wouldn't even worry about that. I wouldn't even worry about that. Yeah. I'm gonna throw it to Hollywood. I want to hear his take on the same thing as far as that aspect. But this is why we keep saying this. That's the only reason why. To try to get y'all to see the things we're able to see, while at the same time give them hell. That's it. So the whole what I never understand is you shouldn't even have to do that because we're telling you what's happening, and we don't always put EA in the best light. So if I were to trust anybody, if I came along and I seen, oh, this guy named Sim and this guy named Smith, oh man, they sound like, and they be getting at it. They sound like they telling us what's really happening. That's all I'm saying. We just educating. You can disagree all you like. That's your prerogative. But hey, if you want to hear what's going on, we're gonna tell you. But Hollywood, man, how do you feel as far as just it hitting Frostbite? Any things that you see that, or were you expecting huge changes in this year? Like, was there anything that you really was expecting them to do and they just didn't quite meet those expectations?
The only thing I was expecting was better visuals, because I knew the connection of Frostbite wasn't going to be perfect. I mean, especially now, you're talking about adding long shots, you're talking about adding mud squads, team play. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. And then looking at the, revamping the ratings so they work better, stuff like that. I mean, that's a big undertaking. Like you said, that's the most work they've done on 18 than they've done in most games. So, but the only thing I'm surprised about, I knew there would be bugs, but these bugs are ridiculous.
Yes, they are, right?
I mean, it's not like guys just missing their blocks or freezing or anything like that. I mean, I saw one on Twitter yesterday. The guy was throwing a pass, and right when he was getting ready to release the ball, his body turned the opposite way to throw the ball. Backwards.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, what?
Or the coaches on the field. I haven't seen that myself, but I saw somebody's video where the coaches was out there.
Yeah, I mean, the bugs you see are ridiculous. Yeah. So, and it comes in a worse time. We're switching over Frostbite. We don't get a beta. I mean, everything just didn't fall in place this year for some reason.
Yeah.
And this was the wrong year to do it during the transition year. Maybe they should have waited for long shots. I know they wanted to get it in, but when you're talking transition, MUT team, all that stuff, and those bugs are ridiculous. I knew there would be bugs, but they're ridiculous. So that's a big undertaking that came in Madden 18. I mean, but yeah, that's the only thing I can say. The bugs are kind of crazy.
It's funny, man. What you just said there, Hollywood, is the truth. Like, let me be. I can't say but so much.
Oh, Kia wanted to get in. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me shoot him an invite. You know, before we wrap up, definitely want to hear Kia. Let me shoot you an invite now, Kia, and we'll get you on before we wrap up. Here's the thing, man. Let me just say this, because like I said, you know, I have to honor relationships and conversation, so I have to be careful at times of what I say, so I don't make anybody feel like, you know, I'm saying too much. But y'all know the deal. But let's just say this. The reason why I keep telling y'all to go back and listen to the interview with Rex and myself, I'm not promoting that. That's old. But go listen to it. Because Rex spelled it out so clearly. The dev team wasn't necessarily in, how can I say this, man? It's not like they were beating the table to put long shot in this year. Their reaction was pretty much the same way Hollywood just said. What? You want us to do what? And transition to Frostbite? What? And this is another big thing y'all need to make sure you listen to. And we don't have percent of our team because they're doing other things. I'm just saying. This man keeps telling y'all, man, listen, this ain't no normal year for us. He actually said in one of his streams, man, look, he basically said, yeah, you know, this ain't the year. Wait for 19 because we're going to be fully loaded. We got some stuff. He said almost that verbatim. Plain English. Madden 18 was about getting over the frostbite. The marketing team felt like it was time to do some sort of story mode. They brought back online team play because that was a huge request. There you have it. One of the first times you ever heard Rex say, man, we were able to take time to just, you know, fix bugs. They ain't never been able to do that. But you know why? Because the people know that gameplay didn't really get a whole lot. And they got some stuff, but they know that this game wasn't feature rich. So you got that time to just go in and tighten up stuff. Now, here's the crazy. Hollywood and Smitty. Even with doing that, look at all these bugs are ridiculous, man. And I'm telling y'all, man, I swear it is because of Frostbite and long shot. I don't think they had the normal checks and balances got done the right way because some of this stuff, no way. But we'll see what happens, man, in terms of patches and things like that. Let me try to send Kia his invite again to get him on. But that's the thing, man. You know, I share your frustration, guys, into myself and Smitty and Azure and the other game changers, you know, who have this opportunity, Shop Master. Can you imagine how frustrated Shop is about CFM? It's very frustrating, man, because we go down there, there's so many ideas, some in which we get implemented. Some they straight up tell us, not this year. And they say why, and we're kind of like, really? Stuff that Smitty knows this. It was things on the table even for 17 that just didn't show up yet. And I'm like, oh, man, y'all have no idea. But without further ado, man, before we close it out, what you got for us, Kia, man? What are your thoughts on everything that we spoke on tonight? You know, if you want to, feel free to talk about both 2K and Madden.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we got you.
You got me? You can hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As far as Madden and, you know, pet peeves and how is the way the game is at launch, I typed in the comment section. I blame mostly long shot for this.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the resource allocation that must have taken, because the game plays and feels like a game that's not finished. And I say that because, not just because of mechanics that are kind of wonky when it comes to player movement and frostbite and whatnot, but mechanics that were even in the game last year that were pretty solid that are noticeably looser. Like, for example, auto flip, bugged like you couldn't believe. You will come out in all kinds of crazy alignments now. That wasn't happening last year. Auto flip was pretty reliable. I used it all year. And I can count on one hand how many times I had to say, all right, wait a minute, I don't like what I did here. Let me change it myself. That's happening. I had to turn it off. It was so bad. You had linebackers and nickel sets walking out against slot receivers. You had, you had safeties and linebackers pre-aligned, cross-matched between backs and tight ends. It was a complete nightmare. And on top of that, your fronts were all out of whack. It was horrible. The shading being backwards. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, go look at my video on man coverage where I was labbing coverage shading and how to correct the shading to stop free inside release. DN contains. Those don't work. I sent Clint and Rex a video a couple hours ago of a clip where just a simple 4-man defensive line, and I had my contain stunts in. My defensive end, Reggie White, he stunts inside, and the quarterback's able to loop right around for a 15, 20-yard gain.
Yeah, we actually pointed that out at the capture event just to give y'all a little tidbit on that. Yep.
Run fits. Run fits aren't as good. Safeties, they don't feel like they did last year. They don't fill in cover 4. I've seen safeties who have B gap in cover 4 have the lane to make the play and to run and fill the gap, run completely the opposite direction. I saw Hollywood do a video of man coverage where his defenders crossed the field and abandoned the receivers. Also, go back to the run fits. You also have linebackers. We're now back to having inside zone being the run of choice because your linebackers, they get to their gap, but they sit there and wait for the blockers to engage them before trying to fill the gap. That's another one. People were complaining that base align is broken. That I don't agree with. What I think is happening with base align is that AW worked on these receiver splits. So if you base a line now against a lot of these sets, you're going to get outflanked. That's fine as far as I'm concerned. But you know,
kid, you're too smart, man. You don't miss nothing. That's all I'm gonna say. You don't miss nothing on the game.
But unfortunately, so what guys are doing, they're coming out and base a line. Their receivers are split out a good 2 to 3 yards wider than normally. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a guy lined up outside between, you know, the corner and the sideline, and it's a quick, easy, you know, outward release throw every single time, as it should be. Align your defense right, you won't have that problem. But again, you know, things like auto flip has to work. The D has to come out align right to begin with in order for that to, you know, come into effect. I don't like aggressive O-line settings. I think they're too powerful. I think what that creates is being able to trot out gold offensive linemen and be able to block elite front sevens too well. And on the flip side, I think aggressive defensive line settings is what it should be on default. I shouldn't have to use that to get what I need as far as the 4-man rush is concerned. That should be the default setting as far as, you know, I believe that how that should play out. And also, QB sack fumbles. They're gone.
Oh, yeah.
They're gone. I haven't seen a single one. We're back to having guys holding the ball, getting hit, and being bailed out by the incompletion. So you add that together, you just have a real buggy, sloppy, glitchy game.
Yeah. I mean, Kia summed it up perfect. It's almost like, I'm telling you, man, and this is not like a nugget. I told Smitty this before the show. We were talking like hours before the show. I was like, Smitty, you know what, man? I really feel like what I was told, you know, that, yeah, they worked on it longer than necessary. I really feel like that is absolutely the truth. And I think that some of the fears that, again, I can't go too deep, but some of the concerns people had is actually playing out. Because I'll say this much. From what I was hearing, I didn't think the game would turn out the way it did. When I'm telling y'all there was, and listen, don't ask me to go into detail. Y'all got to respect that. But when I'm telling you, I had people at EA like, yo, bro, I don't know. I was like, what you mean you don't know? I don't know. It's going to be tough. We going down to the wire. That was the theme I kept hearing. We going down to the wire. And there's probably going to be some stuff that, what you would expect with a, transition into a new system. And I was like, whoa. So it actually turned out better. I checked with some of those same people once, when we got to EA Play, and I said, hey, and I'm not talking about Rex, by the way. I know y'all gonna try to put that connection together. I was like, hey, so how you feel? Those people was kind of like, a little better than I expected, but it's still, we still got some stuff to do. And I think it's exactly what Kia said. I think, man, just trying to get themselves to this point or stabilize it to at least where 17 was at, I think they're having some trouble with that, or had some trouble with that before launch. What's going to be interesting, Kid, I want to hear your take on this before we wrap up. Because I just hit up, matter of fact, let me see if he responded. Oh, he did. Shout outs to my guy, Relly. Just tweeted me back, texted me back. I said, hey, man, when is that first tournament? This is going to be interesting. Oh,
I believe it's this coming weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's this weekend.
Yep. He just told me that. This is going to be hilarious. And, man, am I proud and happy that the competitive guys had the most beef when we got our hands on the game at the capture event, because I was like, oh, boy, this is going to be something. I mean, from the way I'm hearing it from these guys, you might see games that's 55-50.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Problem can't play defense right now.
Yeah.
Problem.
Mm-hmm.
Problem's getting lit the hell up. That tells you all you need to know right there. If Problem can't get stops, no one can.
This is going to be quite funny, man. But, hey, just to show you guys that none of us here are pro EA, I hope so. I hope it shows itself. And let me be very clear here, because I don't want, some people get offended. I hope the game shows very badly in this weekend's tournament, because that is going to make somebody who doesn't allow guys to do what they need to do to say, whoa, wait, whoa, this ain't what we wanted. Oh, no, we got to fix that. I hope it just looks like ridiculously bad on the big scale. Just and so it
they better pray that no one matches target passing anytime soon.
Oh, wow.
They better pray that doesn't happen. Because I can tell you right now, you have some undefendable throws you could make if you get that down, the way the game is playing right now.
Kia, have you by chance had any opportunity to lab this zero theory that we're on right now, with turning reaction time to zero?
I haven't, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, because we're dealing with a game where you have to outside shade to cut off inside release routes. So that would be consistent. We have a game where formations aren't aligning correctly. The pre-snap controls are backwards. Some people are saying that the pre-snap buttons are backward as well. I don't know about that. I haven't seen that happen, but yeah, that would fall right into line with how the game's been released.
It's crazy, man. Well, with all that said, guys, this is also funny to me. And I'll go around to Smitty and then Hollywood and then back to Kia to close out the show. But this is funny to me as well. As I look at Madden 18, and it's living proof of how split, and I don't want to say split in a negative way. I'm just talking about different perceptions and how different everyone is viewing this game. There are people, I actually seen somebody in the chat tonight. There's some people who say Madden 18 is phenomenal. I've seen people say it's the worst Madden ever. Mm-hmm. And then I've seen people like us right in the middle. It's like, nah, man, the game is still, you know, it's still an improvement over 17, but zone defense, just defense in general is thrashed. Fix that, fix a few of these bugs. Oh, we in business. Not perfect, still things we need to add to Madden, obviously. But it just goes to show you how tough it has to be. This is not an excuse, by the way. But can you imagine being a developer and trying to position this to your boss saying, I don't, which one is the truth? Is it too good? Is it too bad? Is it whack? Is it great? And, you know, some of these things are not as cut and dry as some people would expect. You know, they're in the business of entertaining everyone, a la 2K. You know, what did I say about that neighborhood thing? I have no interest in that. But they have to cater to that crowd as well as us, myself, and I know Kia. I can speak for him. We gonna be dissecting how those rotations and the AI. That's what we want to focus on. I have a little, you know, it's funny. It's hilarious for me to say this, but my wife has a little brother. It's like 13. Ain't that crazy? I can't tell him. I can't say nothing bad about 2K or Madden to him. I mean, I literally say, dude, I'm playing him. Let me give y'all a quick story, and then I throw it to Smitty. I'm playing him in Madden 17, and he don't understand why he can't get a catch-off with Odell Beckham. Because you know what he's doing? He dropping back, throwing it deep. All I did is play two-man and double-teamed him, and he can't get the ball in there. He don't know what's going on. I'm like, this is because this is what you're doing, and the deficiencies in the game doesn't allow Odell to be Odell. Like, I was explaining to him that I'm triggering. That's it. But, you know, to him, Madden's perfect. Same thing with 2K. So it's when you're in this line of work, man, y'all blame EA all the time, but hey, you know, the suits are about that money. We hear the investors' calls. They tell you exactly, you know, could y'all not tell from that call that they wanted to do something similar to the journey? They basically said it. So I don't know, Smitty, but final thoughts of the night, man, and then we'll get yours, Hollywood, and then we'll let Kia close us out.
All I basically got to say is just, you know, like I said, I appreciate everybody coming through and hanging out with us, of course, like always. Whether you agree, disagree, whatever, in middle of the road viewpoints, all of it's respected, like always. And like I would say, please, if you hear Rex, if you, like I said, if you're on Twitter and you like follow Rex when he's on Twitch, like I said, log into your Twitch account. If you don't have one, they're free to create yourself a Twitch account, get in the chat, get involved. Okay, get in the dialogue, please. And mainly pay attention to what it is that's being said. Okay, so, but that's all I'm got. That's all I really got. You know, I look forward to the prelude next week. I'm gonna mess with this NBA Live demo and play. I'm gonna try out this Zero Theory sliders as well, because I've been testing out these different sliders and everything from different people. So I'm trying out, you know, I'm gonna try them out, see how it feels, see how it plays until that update comes. Because I mean, like I said, more likely we still got a few weeks before that update comes out. So at this point, we got to blame Sony and Microsoft for the patch not coming through quicker. But I mean, that's certification. It takes time. So, but that's pretty much all I got, man.
Hollywood, man, what are your final thoughts of the night? What you got for us?
I would say my final thought would be everybody that's watching right now, I would say follow everybody you can. Get onto the YouTube channels. Just get in a position where you educate yourself about what's going on. There's a lot of videos. There's a lot of stuff going on Twitter. Just get yourself connected. Just follow and subscribe to all that you can so you can get the information. Then you'll understand better. And another thing I want to talk about, I don't know the process about them getting patches approved and the process it goes through before they can release a patch, but that has to change. I don't know if it's state laws maybe holding it back, or is it just the suits? But they have to understand, they just need to let Rex run this thing. Maybe not 100%, but give him a little bit more, because they don't really understand the community as much as Rex do. So if Rex had it in his hand, that patch would have been out a long time ago. So I'm thinking somehow, some way, Rex, Clint, somebody got to convince those guys, say, hey, we understand there's a process, but we got to fix the process so that when there's bugs in the game, which we know there's going to be bugs in the game, let's figure out a process that we can get that stuff corrected as quickly as possible. If you want to go through your process, okay, you go through your whatever they go through to do that. But they somehow got to get it through where it goes through quick, and mostly just put the weight on Rex's shoulder and say we got to trust Rex. He's the creative director for the game. He's on the inside. He's on Twitter with the community. He understands what's going on. They just need to get Rex more decision making when it comes to patches and things like that, because when you talk about the due diligence, people spending that money, especially the gold edition, spending over $80 for a game, and then the game is not working correctly on defense. And another thing that's saving the game, long shots did really well. It shocked a lot of people.
Did it? Yeah.
Mutt squads is doing really good and still is. So I think that's kind of saving Madden, but they got to change that process because that patch should have been out a long time ago. And
Absolutely. I'm done. What you got, Kia? Final thoughts, man.
Patch has got to deliver. No doubt about it. It has to deliver. If it does, and it cleans up the stuff that I mentioned and you guys talked about, I think we'll have a very different impression of the game and a very different conversation 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. The shame of it is that I do see some very good things out there. But it's so marred by these bugs and by the overwhelming softness of the coverage and the defense in general, and the leaky tackling and all that stuff, that it just smears the entire picture. I mean, I had a game a couple hours ago where I perfectly baited this guy with a deep rotation safety coverage. He didn't see it coming. I was saving it for the entire game. I knew what he was going to do. I had it dialed up, and the safety rolled to cut off the seam, and the corner sunk back in his soft spot zone, picked it off, sealed the game. It was gorgeous. It was exactly the way it should be designed to do. It's in there. It's in there somewhere. All this gunk just has to be cleaned out and addressed, and it gets frustrating because we have no information. We know that it's coming, but until it comes, the game's not changing. It's not going to change until it does, and that's what frustrates people. So yeah, you can like the game and still point out things that are wrong. You can point out things that are wrong and still like the game. I do that all the time, every day. Yeah. I harass Clinton DMs, and I post stuff on Twitter all the time, like, hey, this is not right, or this, coverage should be working this way, and this, that, and the other. That's the kind of stuff we need to do. No need to be, we have to be all in or all out. I mean, dialogue is what makes these things work. So keep on keeping on, and, we'll see how things play out in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, man. And that's the most important. Keep asking questions. You notice he said DM, right? That means he must be doing something in a constructive, professional manner to even have that relationship. But here's the other thing. I don't want everyone to think that this first update is the savior, because what I heard, and this was a week or so ago, could have changed. To my knowledge, there are a few things that are being addressed in this first. It's more like an update. This first thing that we're going to see is a patch, if you understand what I'm saying. More of a title update, I think, will be a little later. What's usually, right, Smitty, is usually like a 30-day. I think it's usually 30 days, 60 days, something like that. So this one, to my knowledge, it's zone and some things with pass rush. I don't know what else is included, but I want to caution you to at least say it might not be a patch, like what we're expecting. Oh, all the bugs, it might not be. That might still be on the normal patch cycle, which is usually 30, 60, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. I would love for it to be a bigger title update, but it might just be whatever it is, you know, there's own problem being fixed, and it might just be whatever they're doing the pass rush. I don't know what is happening with that. I just was told, oh yeah, it's going to be some pass rush stuff. So we'll see what that is. But outside of that, man, you know, we appreciate all of you guys that came on to, you know, chime in tonight. We always appreciate Kia coming on. And if you want to be a panelist, feel free. I want to extend that invitation again. Hollywood was the only guy who hit us up and said, hey, I'd like to hang out. I keep telling y'all what we want to do with this show going forward. We would love for it to just be a panelist show. We have up to 3 additional people on every week. We cover our topics. Don't forget that. If y'all want to be a part of that next week, the way you can let us know, hit us up on Twitter. Hit up Smitty or myself at SimFBallCritic. Let me quickly try to remember Smitty's.
And I thank y'all for letting me on too, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, here goes Smitty. Smitty is at SmittyD1981.
Yep.
Yeah, Hollywood, anytime. I mean, hey, whenever you want to do it. You know, if we start getting numerous requests, obviously we're going to have to. But we want this to be a community show. You guys having the voice, you guys bringing the, you know, the topics to the table, even if you oppose what we're saying. Yes, let's do it. Let's have dialogue. We're not going to mute you. We ain't going to hang up on you. So there you have it. So outside of that, guys, everyone be safe. Check out your team's last preseason game and, you know, see who's going to make the squads. And I guess we'll all know what comes Saturday or Monday or what have you. And we'll see. Whoa, the Steelers did something crazy this week. Joe Hayden and this kid McDonald from the 49ers. So just had to give y'all that nugget, Steeler fans. I don't want to hear it again. I don't want to hear y'all telling me they ain't trying to make changes. I ain't trying to hear that. Y'all need to stop with that. And for the last 3 years, they ain't did nothing but draft cornerbacks. These dudes just ain't panning out. You know, Artie Burns is going to be okay. But that Cockrell kid that we got off waivers, it's time for him to go. Obviously, Joe Hayden will take his spot. So, Kia, I'm going to talk to you on Twitter. I'm interested to hear your assessment on Joe Hayden. I know he's not the same Joe Hayden. Can we not agree that he's probably the better? You know, it's probably him and Artie Burns. He's better than Cockrell. So I don't know what the complaints are, Steeler fans. What's our other option? Y'all want us to go on the season with Cockrell? I'm just saying. But anyway, that's going to do it. Everybody have a nice, safe weekend. I hope you guys have an extended one like I'm having. And we'll be back next week, man, to talk about some other news. So y'all be easy.
Peace.
Catch you guys. Yep, peace. Catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.
Deuces.
All right, let's get on out of here.
Yeah.